Hello, Airbus cockpit coach here. You're joining me in the cockpit of the Inibuilds Airbus A350, and in this video we're going to look at the taxi procedure. We've just pushed back from stand at London Heathrow. We've completed our after start checks, and now we're going to begin the taxi. The first thing we want to consider is the flight control checks. Now this can be done whilst moving on the taxi, but I do recommend, especially if you're not familiar with the handling of the aircraft, to do this while stationary. To perform the taxi checks, we need to bring up our flight control display. Movement of the side stick will actually bring it up automatically, but the flight control button here is what you're looking for. So if I pull the side stick full back now, you'll see the screen comes up, and we're looking for the movement there, and also the movement here on the primary flight display, just verifying that. Slow movements, pull down. So while we're doing this, the aircraft systems are monitoring those movements and will notify us of any faults. So we're full left and full right. Next we press the pedal disconnect and we perform a check of our rudders. Full right and full left. Back to neutral. Press the pedal disconnect again, and that's our flight control checks complete. Once we've completed the flight control checks, we take the screen back to the wheel page. We can monitor the brake temperatures while taxiing. Once we've completed the flight control checks, we conduct a taxi flow. So we need to arm the auto brake over here. This will automatically select auto brake rejected takeoff. Then we want to set up our EFIS system, so we may want weather on the captain's side and terrain on the first officer side, for example. That's at pilot's discretion. There may be occasions where both pilots will want terrain on, for example, if it's good conditions like today, but we're in a really mountainous area. Then we come down, we'll check our sport code, and then we press the takeoff config button here, and you'll see the takeoff config is now green and normal. So that's the taxi flow. Next we need our air traffic control clearance, so Speedbird 1 request taxi. Speedbird 1 taxi to runway 09 right via Echo Bravo, link 51, hold November Bravo 10. Taxi 9 right via Echo Bravo, link 51, hold November Bravo 10, Speedbird 1. So we clear the taxi, we can get the taxi light on. That's the middle position there. And then we want to release our parking brake. The aircraft should start to move by itself, particularly at lighter weights. If you have a heavy aircraft, you may require a little bit of thrust to get it going. So we'll release our parking brake and we verify that it's released here. Parking brake released. Looks like we're going to need a little bit of thrust to get it going. You shouldn't use more than 30% of thrust in a taxi situation. There we go, now moving. Turned on the Tobii eye tracker to assist me with the taxi. Before moving, I should have added that we would do a check to make sure that the left side and right side are both clear. So we want 10 knots for a maximum of 10 knots for turns over 30 degrees. And in terms of taxi speed on straight runs, the same as other Airbus aircraft, because of their carbon brakes, we let the aircraft accelerate up to 30 knots, and the speed here is at the top of the navigation display which says GS. Our ground speed, and then we provide a smooth application of brake to bring the speed back down. So we're going to make a turn here onto Bravo. We have been cleared. We're clear left side, clear right side. It's a sharp turn, so we want to bring a little bit of brakes in, down to 10 knots, maybe a little bit less. We want to oversteer a bit here. One to get used to. Remember that nose wheel is behind the cockpit. You may think your nose wheel is in the grass, but it's not. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and the controls are currently pretty sensitive in the Inibuilds. Power management in turns as well. Using thrust on the engine that's on the opposite side of the direction you're turning. So if you're turning right, left engine thrust, or engine number 1 thrust, will be beneficial. Thrust on the inner of the turn, the inner side of the turn, works against you. So for doing sharp turns, I recommend applying thrust on the outboard engine. So this is link 5-1. Speed below 10 knots here. We need to play around with the sensitivity settings for my nose wheel a bit as well. But remember that nose wheel is behind the cockpit. We're going straight over to the right as well here. And here we are at November Bravo 10, one more turn to do, clear on the right side. Just a tip to line the centre line up, a little screw there you can line it up to on the glare shield. There we are at the holding point, November Bravo 10, and we'll set our parking brake. Confirm that's set on the PFD. When we come up, because we're stationary, we want to turn the taxi light back to off. So whenever we've been asked to hold by air traffic control, or we've reached a holding point, we would turn the taxi light off. This helps other aircraft identify which aircraft are likely to be moving. During taxi as well, it's also important to re-verify your takeoff performance. You may get a new QNH, for example, from air traffic control, which will cross-check V-speeds, check your FMAs here, so we'll usually read these out. So we've got 145 blue, 153 magenta, confirming V-speeds. First officer would also confirm on their side. Brake RTO, climb nav blue, 1FD2, initial climb 6000. And then a check on the cam again, make sure there's no messages up there. So as you can see, the aircraft does take a little bit of getting used to in terms of turns. You saw there my first turn, I lost a bit of momentum, so you need to keep the thrust on. Things we're getting used to. Certainly recommend doing the flight control checks before starting the taxi, just to allow you to concentrate on manoeuvring the aircraft. Keeping the speed under control in turns is pretty key with this aircraft. We do have a taxi camera button up here if you're wondering what that is for. That's not modelled yet, but hopefully that will come at a later date. So that's the taxi procedure on the Airbus A350. If you have any questions on that, please drop them in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one where we'll look at the takeoff procedure. Thanks for watching.